Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Coat will feel good this morning. Our temperatures are in the 30s as you're stepping out the door. We'll talk about how many more really chilly mornings we have in our forecast coming up.
If your morning commute takes you near Hillsborough Street in Raleigh, you will want to give yourself some extra time today. How long a construction project there will affect drivers.
And the search will continue soon for a jet skier who's been missing for over 24 hours. Michael Grace is at Jordan Lake in the WRAL breaking news tracker to get us up to speed on the disappearance. We'll have that story coming up for you. But thanks for joining us on your Thursday. I'm Michelle McConaughey in for NHU.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. It's great to have you along, making us part of your day here. And it's going to start as a chilly one, certainly. Yes. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Anytime there's a 3 in front of that number, we know it's cold.
That's right. And we've gone a long stretch without seeing a whole lot of that. 36 degrees. This is a live look at downtown Durham right now. But here's a good thing. The wind has finally died down. You know, it was windy yesterday and the day before, so we don't have a wind chill to deal with. What you see is what you get. But it is 30 in Roxborough and 32 in South Hill, 36 in Fayetteville, 34 Goldsboro, 35 in Southern Pines. We tend to see the coldest temperature of the morning closer to 7 a.m., so we have several hours where the temperatures could still drop. And that's more likely when we have clear skies, which is what we do have this morning. Our temperatures are running about 5 to 10 degrees colder than this time yesterday, so we're continuing to see those lows drop. We'll be in the 30s all the way up until around 9 a.m., and it'll be a little warmer this afternoon. We do climb into the mid-60s, which should feel fairly pleasant. That's going to be a little bit above normal. We should see lots of sunshine forward today, but overnight tonight the clouds roll in, and so does the rain. We have a wet commute in our forecast for tomorrow, and that's not the only rain for the weekend. We'll walk through it coming up.
All right, thanks, Elizabeth. You'll need to give yourself extra time this morning if you're driving near Hillsborough Street in West Raleigh. A major detour is now in place for the next few months. WRAL's Nia Hardin joins us live from the construction zone near Blue Ridge Road to tell us what drivers can expect this morning. Good morning, Nia.
Good morning, Michelle. Well, you know, one of the things we're already noticing is that this is already coming to a surprise for a lot of people. Take a look right here. The police officer right here having to use his siren to let drivers know that they cannot go past him because you can see right up ahead there is that closure that has already started. It started around 8 o'clock last night and it's going to last for several months. DOT says this is all to improve the traffic pattern and make it safer for drivers in this busy area. Now, a lot of us are familiar with this area because we know that this is where the state fair is. Construction will result in Blue Ridge Road passing underneath Hillsborough Street, the railroad tracks, and Barrel Road. A new connector road is then going to open to provide some access between Hillsborough Street and Blue Ridge Road during the construction. Now, we did ask drivers how they're feeling about that, and in the next half hour, you'll be able to hear about that. As for the project, this phase of it, how long it's going to last, they're hoping they can have this phase done by this fall. Nia Hardin, WRAL News in Raleigh.
This morning at first light, crews will be back out at Jordan Lake to look for a jet skier who has now been missing for more than 24 hours. Michael Grace is at the Farrington Boat Access Point this morning in the WRAL Breaking News Tracker. The search continues, Michael, and we're into our second day. We reported about this all day yesterday.
Yeah, and like you said, the daybreak should be at around 6:30. 6:35 is first sunrise, so that's when we can expect these crews to be out here to continue the search. Now, Deletto was riding a jet ski on Tuesday night with his family member, and then that jet ski started to have mechanical issues. That family member then went to go get help, and when they returned, Deletto was gone. Now, the family's pastor says the sheriff's office, they did find the jet ski he was riding along with an empty life jacket during their search yesterday morning. The family also asking anyone who lives near the Farrington Point boat ramp to assist in this morning's search. Live in Chatham County, Michael Grace, WRAL News.
A wildfire in Cumberland County is growing and crews are working to contain it. We expect to get an update on their progress around 9 a.m. this morning. The fire on Dudley Road has at least tripled in size since yesterday morning. It's grown to 300 acres and is about 60% contained as of this morning. Yesterday at 5 p.m. they told us it was 60% contained. WRAL Sky 5 flew over the area in the eastern part of the county. Vander's fire chief says crews from multiple agencies did a remarkable job saving lives and property. About 10 families had to be evacuated, and fire crews managed to save at least 4 homes.
It's going to be a huge day today in Greensboro for college basketball fans. UNC, NC State, and Duke men's basketball all playing in the ACC tournament quarterfinals. Tar Heels and Wolfpack are there after big wins last night, and WRAL's Chris Lee has what those games mean as we look forward to today.
The ACC tournament back in Greensboro for the 29th time. So, of course, our in-state teams had to defend home court, and they did it very well on Wednesday. North Carolina needing to accumulate wins to keep their NCAA tournament hopes alive. Taking on Boston College, Armando Bacot had a scare and rolled his ankle in the first half, but he was able to return in the second half. 10 points for him, 22 points for Caleb Love as the Heels move on, 85-61.
We was in this position last year. As far as they didn't believe in us last year. So, and we just kept writing our story. So that's what we're gonna do. Continue to do this weekend.
NC State with the late draw taking on Virginia Tech, and this one was over from the jump. A hot shooting night for Baby T Terquavion Smith, 11 of 13 and a game high 30 points. NC State moves on, 97-77.
I knew I was going to go out before the first shot, honestly. I had good preparation. I've been putting in a lot of work. I've kind of been struggling, so the motivation I got from my team and my teammates and coaches, it was just incredible.
There's going to be so much action in Greensboro today as North Carolina will take on Virginia at 7 o'clock. NC State will take on Clemson at 9:30. Duke will make their tournament debut. They begin at 2:30, taking on Pitt. And to round out the Big Four in the state of North Carolina, we have to talk about Wake Forest as they're going to play Miami at noon. In Greensboro, I'm Chris Lee, WRAL Sports.
WRAL's live ACC tournament coverage continues from Greensboro today. A little bit later, Brett Neese will join the WRAL sports team at the Greensboro Coliseum for pre- and post-game coverage. Get started with our 4 o'clock newscast this afternoon.
The bodies of 2 Americans killed during a kidnapping in Mexico will be returned to the U.S. today. Shaeed Woodard and Zindell Brown will be brought to a funeral home in Brownsville, Texas. U.S. officials say autopsies will be conducted on the men following up on exams that were done by a Mexican medical examiner. The 2 survivors are already back in the U.S. Eric Williams, who was shot in the leg 3 times, is being treated in a Texas hospital. And Latavia Washington McGee was expected to return home to South Carolina yesterday. The group went to Mexico so McGee could get cosmetic surgery. Prosecutors believe members of a Mexican drug cartel mistook them for drug smugglers. McGee's mother describes what her daughter experienced.
Man came up and hit him, and that's when they started shooting at the car, shooting inside the van or whatever. And I guess since the other ones tried to run and they got shot at the same time. Shaeed and Zell and Eve, they all got shot at the same time. And she watched them die.
Senator Lindsey Graham from the victim's home state of South Carolina is vowing to get justice, saying it's, quote, time to change the game on how we deal with Mexican drug cartels. Thousands of Americans visit Mexico often for low-price medication and procedures.
It's probably 80% less costly.
Coming up, we hear from a man who makes the trip to help his niece who relies on an inhaler. Why he says taking the risk for more affordable medication is worth it. That's coming up in 10 minutes.
A push to toughen punishment for violent protests could reach Governor Cooper's desk today. Final votes are expected in the North Carolina Senate today on the so-called anti-riot bill. It's a response to the 2020 riots in Raleigh over racial injustice that left several businesses damaged downtown. Critics say the bill is racist and will prevent people from holding peaceful protests, but supporters say it'll discourage violence at demonstrations. If the bill passes, Governor Cooper has not said if he will sign it. He previously vetoed a similar measure.
Breaking news overnight in California, 3 police officers are in the hospital after a shooting. What led up to the standoff that left the officers injured and a suspect dead?
Plus, it's not what homeowners expected to see when they walked into their living room. A bobcat, how it was able to get into their home and into their dog's bed.
And taking a look outside, this is Sanford for you. It's a clear and cool Thursday morning. But this afternoon is going to be beautiful. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner will tell us how much it'll warm up.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
It's 4:43 and a nice quiet morning, but it's cold, colder than we've seen in quite some time. 37 in Rocky Mount right now. It's 36 in Durham and 36 degrees in Raleigh. Our skies are clear. It's a pretty morning. It's just on the chilly side. So you definitely want to bundle up if you're going to be headed out for exercise. The temperatures in the 30s aren't so bad if you're, really working, running, that sort of thing. But if you're out for a walk this morning, you may want to bundle up a bit more than you have been lately. Our lunchtime temperature is 56 and we do climb to 64 this afternoon, which will feel fairly pleasant. So our evening temperature is not so bad if you're looking to get outside. And a little later in the day, we'll feel more comfortable. Don't wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow we have rain in the forecast. It will be a wet commute, and I'll show you how much of Friday will stay wet coming up.
3 Los Angeles police officers are in the hospital after being shot overnight. Their injuries, they are not expected to be life-threatening. The officers were searching for a person who got out of a car after a traffic stop when they were shot. It is unclear what led to that traffic stop. A standoff happened after the shooting, and the suspect was killed.
The Red Cross is helping 2 people displaced by a house fire in Fuquay Varina. WRAL's breaking news tracker was there on the scene last night on Longfellow Street. When firefighters arrived, flames and smoke were coming from that house. Investigators think the fire started in the kitchen.
We're looking for more information into Americans traveling to Mexico for low-price medication and procedures after 4 U.S. citizens were kidnapped last week and 2 of them were killed. The American Journal of Medicine says millions of Americans seek health care in other countries, with Mexico ranking 4th in the world for medical tourism. Top procedures are dentistry and cosmetic surgery. A Wisconsin resident traveled to the country for a niece to buy inhalers, which would have cost them 30 times more at home.
Medicine we're getting for friends because it's so much cheaper here. Inhaler, $2 or $2.50 here, $65 at home.
Now, all this comes as the State Department issues travel warnings about not visiting Mexico.
California will not renew its $54 million contract with Walgreens. This all comes after the pharmacy chain's decision last week to not distribute abortion medication in 21 states. GOP attorney generals from those states sent a letter to Walgreens executives back in February threatening legal action if they mailed abortion pills in their respective states. Walgreens has not yet commented on the state's decision.
So imagine coming home and finding this, a bobcat resting in your dog's bed. That's what a pet owner in Arizona found. They think the wild cat got into the house through the doggy door. It attacked the dog. That's a dog, look at that dog right there, named Squeakers. And according to a GoFundMe page, Squeakers was hurt and needs surgery after that attack.
Oh, poor Squeakers. Well, protests are rocking the country of Georgia's capital. Violent clashes here erupted yesterday. Police used water cannon and tear gas after some in the crowd threw stones and petrol bombs. Lawmakers moved a step closer to passing a controversial Russian-style bill that many say will curtail basic freedoms. The bill would require some organizations that receive foreign funding to register as foreign agents.
Good morning, Ken Smith here in the WRAL Live Center. Following some breaking news, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell hospitalized overnight. You see the headlines right here on NBC News. Apparently, the 81-year-old senator was attending a private dinner at a Washington hotel when he reportedly tripped. His office just put out a quick statement saying that he's been hospitalized and getting treatment. His office did not put out any other details about what happened. Of course, we'll continue to monitor any new developments about his hospitalization here in the WRAL Live Center.
All right, thanks, Ken. 4:47 is the time right now. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. It's a little bit cooler this morning, but maybe we get a couple more degrees in the afternoon.
It's actually going to be a really pleasant afternoon. We're going to climb on up into the mid-60s, but it's chilly this morning. One of the cooler mornings that we've seen in some time. Temperatures are solidly down in the mid-30s. We could drop it on down closer to freezing maybe in the next few hours, but nonetheless, we'll stay in the 30s all the way up until around 8 or 9 o'clock this morning. Our dew point's 30, so it's fairly nice and dry out there. That was a live look at Durham. It's 28 now in Roxborough, so that temperature just dropped a bit. 33 in South Hill and in Goldsboro, 35 in Southern Pines. So we're really, low to mid 30s this morning. And of course, I know that there may be some farmers who are out there watching very closely. This time of year, well, usually a little later in the year, but this year, everything has started to bloom, bud, so much earlier than we normally do. We're about 3 weeks ahead. So strawberry farmers, fruit farmers, maybe on the lookout for some of those freezing temperatures and doing what they can to protect the crops this morning. Our 24-hour temperature change, anywhere from 5 to 10 degrees colder than we were this time yesterday. We take a look at our highs this afternoon. It's going to be a nice one. 67 in Fayetteville, 64 in Goldsboro, 64 Roxboro, 67 Southern Pines. That's not bad. It's a couple of degrees warmer than normal. If you're hitting the road to head down to Greensboro to the ACC tournament, Duke plays Pittsburgh at 2:30. And of course, we'll have plenty of coverage for you at 2 o'clock, 60 degrees, and at 4 o'clock game time over around 63. But just lots of sunshine. Should be an easy drive down to Greensboro and back. We have a cool weekend in our forecast. Again, our normal high is 60, 64 today. And then tomorrow's going to be a wet day, and it'll be cool at 55. And then we're going to hold it in the low to mid 50s Saturday and Sunday. Saturday looks dry. Should be a fine day to get outside, but it'll be almost 10 degrees colder than today. And then Sunday also looks wet, but mainly later in the afternoon. How about the chilly mornings? Tomorrow morning will be milder. I mean, it's not going to be very comfortable at 44 and some showers, but we're nowhere close to freezing. And then Sunday morning we are, though. Sunday morning will be close to freezing, and again, Tuesday morning. So just remember that if you have anything that's in your garden, which you probably don't this time of year, but anything that needs protecting, those are the 2 mornings that we'll need to watch again. We continue to have the potential for below normal temperatures, at least all the way through March 22nd, possibly just through the end of the month. And of course, don't forget on Saturday night, we have to set the clocks forward 1 hour. But besides today, all of our highs are in the 50s and our overnight lows are mostly in the 30s. So it's feeling a whole lot more like January.
I guess it had to come soon, right?
Yeah, we didn't really have January when it came, so we'll get it now. Here's an incredible story of survival after historic snowfalls in California, how an 81-year-old was able to survive in a car for nearly a week after it landed in a snowbank on a desolate highway. We're getting an inside look at the North Carolina Freedom Park in downtown Raleigh ahead of its summer opening. Now, it's been nearly 3 years since crews broke this ground on the program, and now we are closer to seeing the final product. WRAL's Destiny Patterson shows us how a group of students will use their skills to put this park into focus.
I joined a group of Wake County students for one of the first official tours of Freedom Park. Contractors say that this will be a giant leap for the city, the state, and the Black community.
Freedom. People who have thought about it most deeply are the people who are denied it most completely.
And the idea of freedom is one that organizers take seriously.
I grew up in a segregated North Carolina. I could not sit in the front of the bus. I could not go to certain bathrooms.
They've worked for nearly 2 decades to build a space to appreciate North Carolina's Black history.
It has taken 17 years to reach this point. The current generation is facing new obstacles and new struggles as the struggle for freedom continues.
It's our deep history that we don't really get to see.
Janae Snell and her classmates will be creating an app highlighting Black history in downtown Raleigh, including Freedom Park. She says the city needs this.
There isn't anything else like this in other places in Raleigh.
They will reflect on the quotes that are around the wall, and they will look at the beacon, which is a guide and an inspiration for the future, and they will leave here with a new outlook on freedom and equality for all.
While the contractors didn't want to put a specific date on it, they say they hope to welcome their first guests this summer. Destiny Patterson, WRAL News, Raleigh.
Holt Brothers is the contractor, and they cited supply chain issues and weather as primary reasons for project delays.
Central Carolina Community College has received a grant to outfit its new large animal facility with technology to help train veterinary students. The $196,000 grant from the NC Tobacco Trust Fund Commission will help buy ultrasound equipment, blood analysis machines, and microscopes. It'll also be used for farm equipment and to build more animal shelters. The CCC Veterinary Medical Technology Program is one of 5 veterinary medical technology programs in North Carolina and is the longest running program in the state. Well, a story of survival out of California following historic winter storms there. An 81-year-old man was rescued after surviving for nearly a week alone in his car, stuck in a snowbank on a desolate California highway. Jerry Jurett says he survived on what he had in his car, which turned out to be candy and croissants. He got stranded after he set out from his mountain home back on February 24th to return to his family in Nevada. Jurett was rescued after a helicopter pilot spotted his car. When checked out at the hospital, he miraculously had no signs of hypothermia.
That's a lucky stretch right there. Join WRAL as we celebrate and support our amazing local arts community during the 3rd annual Big Night In for the Arts. This event features performances by Tony Award winner Beth Level, fusion folk artists Larry and Joe, social media dance superstars Costin Mayer, plus a live performance from Grammy-nominated country artist Reese Palmer. So you can watch, donate, and celebrate the arts at 7 on WRAL, wherever you stream WRAL as well. That's tonight.
Just coming up on 5 o'clock, taking a live look at Hillsborough Street in Raleigh, where construction is underway. How long this project will impact drivers in the area, we'll have that next.
And taking a live look outside the Museum of Natural Sciences in Raleigh, grab the jacket. It is cold to start our day. It will be a beautiful afternoon. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner tells us how much it will warm up.